Okay, next up is Ron Barshop. So Ron, I would describe him as an entrepreneur. He started a bunch of allergy labs actually in San Antonio, Texas. He had 56 locations and 14 more signed. Now he runs Beacon Clinics, which brings a complete and integrated solution for primary care physicians. He also runs a podcast, and he says that he's fixing primary care he brings guests who are fixing primary care on the fringes. So I'd be interested to hear more about that. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you, Yuli, for bringing me. I want to congratulate you on setting up a sweat labor shop here. I've never seen that in America. A lot of children out there working that are probably breaking every law known to mankind. And thank you for inviting me never back again. Yeah, he's hurt me out there. I know he's nodding out there. And by the way, all the children, when I was saying, I wanted to say, and you'd really want to be here instead of playing video games, and they would all look down and not want to get their parents' eyes because they don't want to be here. So we right now I'm going to make a statement that's going to shock pretty much everybody in the room, I think. Not only am I living in the triple aim, which is supposed to be not of this planet, said Dr. Silverman yesterday, but I'm living in the quadruple aim, living in it, said Dr. Silverman, intergalactically impossible. And I'm also want to add a fifth aim in there that is possible, and it's happening right now. So this is the perception of healthcare in America, is that every doctor looks like George Clooney, and the ones that don't look like McDreamy. We have the finest hospitals that the world is flocking to. I live in Houston, Texas, and we have a huge medical tourism business for our hospitals. It's enormous. We have a enormous reputation as medical device leaders, as pharma leaders, but the reality is, now I don't know how to move this forward. What button do I push, please? What button? Oh, well, the arrow, that would be a good one. We all know the reality, because we all experience the reality. Now, I'm a customer, and so are you. You're a patient. I prefer the word customer to patient. A lot of us are doctors. I own a medical practice, although I'm not a doctor. In Texas, they let us get away with murder. And I'm also an employer, and many of you are employers as well. And these problems that exist in the marketplace today are broken. We have a crime scene that we've got to investigate here. And the third leading cause of death in America is medical errors. So it is quite literally a crime scene. This is who might be the criminal, and I'm telling you, it's not. This is not Dr. Evil, like everybody thinks. But every morning when I wake up, I do something like this. Oh, 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 oh. Please don't audit me today. I get an audit every 3 months for about $130,000. They've never gotten a dime out of me. But since 2012, I've suffered audits, and maybe you do too. Please, please, you don't have to pay me in the 30 days that the prompt pay statute say. Just pay me sometime. I've got to make payroll. So I'm also praying to them, and I'm asking them, please, just leave me alone today. And your pre-authorization clerk that I'm going to have to deal with on the phone, I wanted to say twerp, but I said clerk. The pre-authorization clerk, please, may they have had hot, juicy sex last night, so they're in a good mood. Again, now this will be my last time presenting in front of this group. Now raise your hands if you women in the audience need your PSA check today. And you guys, if you need your pregnancy well test. Is that going to be happening for any of you today? So we have services we don't need, but they're bundled into the products. Well, I'm a dreamer, and I believe that we can have a future with the triple aim and the quadruple aim and the quintuple aim. Because ultimately, if we take care of the customer, the doctor, and the employer, we've solved most of the problems with primary care, which solves downstream healthcare. And what I've learned from doing my podcast called Primary Care Cures is that it's all fixed on the fringes and spots for pieces of these three in what I call the golden triangle. Well, if it's fixed in spots, that's not a good solution because it has to be comprehensive. So what I've discovered is the future is in direct primary care, and I want to walk you through my patient experience. And I didn't even know I was living in this future when I signed up 2 years ago, because direct primary care has a lot of different flavors like ice cream. So here's what happened. The day before I went in, my doctor got my patient history that I had given over the telephone. He got the chief complaint, and he got a promise that he'll get a debit card for $75, which is his cash-free price. So I walk right into the office just like this, and I walk right past the front desk. I don't show a card. I don't fill out any clipboard. I walk straight back to the office that I'm going to see him in. And in 3 or 4 minutes, Dr. Edward Quo walks in, and he's sitting right here. I said, Dr. Quo, this year I lost 35 pounds. I want to keep going down and finish the last 16 marathons. I'm trying to do all the letters of the alphabet. That I stopped when I was 40. I'm now 60. And it's very important to me to understand nutrition because there's a lot of bad information on the internet, and I want to understand nutrigenomics. And so we had an hour talk like that. And I said, by the way, I'm your most profitable patient you'll see today. So I explained to him how this all works. So I was patient number 1 with a company called Redirect, and I was also employer number 1 in Texas. Today there's over 900. But that's my experience with direct primary care. Now it's time for me to walk out of the exam, and I walk right past the front desk, and I don't have to show a card, and I don't have to show a copay. So I've gone in with no deductible, no copay, walked out. The premiums paid by my company, so all the money transactions were essentially zero. Now direct primary care is scaling. This is the year that it's taking off in a very big way. We have 500,000 lives in direct primary care. There's 2,000 doctors, and I predict that number could easily double in the next 3 to 4 years. And it took us 10 years to get to this number. And there's over 10,000 employers, and this is one of the secrets. And it works like magic because it solves the biggest problems that I showed you on the previous page for the Golden Triangle. Direct primary care is primarily transforming because we have low friction, low cost. This is Uber. This is your iPod with 1,000 songs in your pocket. You don't have to buy the whole bundled album. You just buy the 1,000 songs you want, right? That's exactly what direct primary care is. It has unbundled and simplified and brought the cost down for everything. With less friction and lower cost, the new value creation, here's what this looks like. This is who the average patient will see. They're going to see 3 people that have to deal with money and 1 person that has to deal with care. You see those red and the blue? Does everybody see that? That's what the patient sees. But the average transaction is actually 12 to 14 that are part of every patient-doctor exam. And those 14 people are feeding off of that 1 15-minute visit. And I'm saying doctor and NP interchangeably. So basically, in independent practice, the doctor is going to get 25 cents on the dollar. 10 to 15% slippage. Any good auditor will find another 10% that's just, it's not pernicious, but it's just, that's what's slipping between the cracks. So in a private practice, 25%. If you're a hospitalist, it's 6 to 8% is what you're going to take home out of that transaction right there. I don't know how you feel about that. I'm not a doctor, but I don't think I would like that too much. And it's all about money. So why do they call them medical assistants? Shouldn't they call them transaction assistants or money assistants? Why are they going to learn how to do phlebotomy when they don't even touch that? Now, what is the advancement career on this if you're working in a practice? What is the way to advance your life? And how much are you touching the patients when you're doing pre-authorizations and referral coordination? So this is what I call the old 70s and 2000s. This is direct primary care. The direct primary care has basically a shared medical assistant, and they're splitting a practice manager and a billing clerk with 10 other practices because they're getting $70 a month reliably, and all the money's going to the point of care. This is how direct primary care works. And while he's seeing his 6 patients, this one's seeing 26 patients. While she's seeing her 2,600, this one has 600. Typical DPC won't go over 600. That is pretty impressive to me. So what they're doing is asynchronously handling another 10 or 20 patients, mostly which are chronic and acute, over the phone while they're dealing with their 6 patients a day. Now some days they'll have 2 patients, but anybody can walk in. And did I mention they do house calls? I haven't had a house call since I was 6 years old and had chicken pox, but they're doing house calls all over America. This isn't right. This is a hot coat in the middle of summer, and we've accepted it as being okay. This is not okay. That's what I'm here to tell you. What we found is that direct primary care is actually a gigantic money tree, and here's how it works. Remember, the Golden Triangle we're solving a crime for, and we want to find out who's Dr. Evil, and we want to find out who's the hero in this crime. Well, this guy right here, 56% of all Americans make less than 20 an hour. And about the same percentage of Americans have given up on the American dream. We have a loneliness study that comes out about December every year. About 65% of Americans feel completely disenfranchised from the American system. So instead of spending $500 on a $95,000 mortgage, they're spending that $500 on their premium that they really can't afford because the deductible is a slippery rung of ladder of a treehouse of care they can't even get into. Does that make sense? If you don't have a deductible, cash, savings, how are you going to get into that treehouse of care? That's over half of our Americans. So they can't get in the treehouse. And what is the solution is direct primary care comes to the rescue for the employer, because the employer is Dr. Evil. I am Dr. Evil as an employer, but I'm also the hero. Because when I pick up and take my $70 a month for my employees and pay the direct primary care relationship, I solve the biggest problem. And downstream, these are the kind of savings we know after 10 years of studying direct primary care. So what you have is you take care in the front end, says the United Health CEO, Andrew Whitty. A couple of weeks ago, he said if you spend 5 cents here, you save 95% down here. If you spend, actually Kaiser Permanente just saved $1 billion, Walmart just saved $1 billion. So am I running out of time? I'm out of time, okay. The bottom line is we now have restored integrity, and if you want more information, you can go to this website today only. You'll get my book free if you want to learn a little bit more about this. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ron.